And now tonight's last word, and it'll be a French last word. For all things French, we turn to Laurence Haïm. She is the White House correspondent and U.S. Bureau Chief for Canal+. This began with the Charlie Hebdo attacks. When we were looking for guests to talk about it that night, about what happened, I told everyone here that I wanted to hear from as many French voices as possible and suggested finding a reporter for a French news organization in Washington, probably someone assigned to cover the White House. And so that night, Laura made her first appearance on this program, which was actually her first appearance on American cable news. And she joins us now tonight here in New York. Laura, great to see you. Great to have you in the studio.
Merci.
You are an audience favorite, and so we decided to allow the audience to ask you a few questions tonight, and we got them on Facebook, and one says, first one, William Ridgway asks, how long do you expect the increased security measures to last in France?
At least until February, because the state of emergency is until February 24th. So there are going to be a lot of delays in the airports when you're going to travel. There are going to be a lot of different measures which are going to, involve the life of people coming to France during Christmas. We don't know what's going to happen, and France is still threatened.
The second question from Facebook is, how is this going to affect, let's see, Kathleen Williams basically wants to know, how is this going to affect the elections that are coming up, and specifically the issue of the hostility in France to immigrant groups, to Muslims in particular in areas of France. How's that going to play out in the election?
That's an excellent question, because the next story is about the regional elections. The first one is on December 6th with the far right, Marine Le Pen. There are a lot of anti-Muslim speeches at this moment, a lot of hate. François Hollande, the French president, is trying to take care of that. We don't know if he's going to succeed by uniting the nation, and people are extremely worried, and this is a test for the unity of the nation on December 6th.
Does Le Pen promise more action than Hollande is already proposing?
Yeah, Le Pen wants to build a lot of walls. Le Pen wants to reject a lot of Muslim people in their own countries. Le Pen has a very xenophobic speech.
Shut off any refugees coming in?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very similar to what's happening in the American presidential election. That's why it's so interesting to compare the speeches about what's happening in France at this moment with the far right, what's happening in the United States with the Republican Party. You find a lot of similarities, a lot of same words, a lot of same expressions, and I think that's going to be really interesting to see if on December 6th, and then after that, because it's 2 weeks of elections, Le Pen is succeeding with her message.
Now, you established in the White House press conference that François Hollande has no intention of sending in ground troops to Syria. Is there any difference between Le Pen and Hollande on the issue of how they would militarily go after the Islamic State?
Yes, absolutely. And what is interesting about Hollande, that's why I think the question yesterday was relevant. It was no ground troops, but the Americans have troops in a way in Syria with special forces. You know, the French do not have special forces. So now Marine Le Pen and a lot of French politicians on the right side want more military action. And again, I come back to this idea. This is exactly similar to what's happening in the United States with the Republican Party. François Hollande so far is the negotiator in chief. He wants to peace things. He wants to unite the nation. It's still, Laurence, a nation which is grieving. Tomorrow people are going to bury their loved one. It's a moment of unity, and there's something which is deeply touching about that. François Hollande asked French people to put a French flag in the window. And you know, we don't have us, the French, the symbolic of what you have in America with the American flag. Here in America, people, when there's something going on, they put the American flag. Tomorrow in France, we're going to put the French flag.
Let's have the last word be your French pronunciation of your first name, which is different than the way you've Americanized it.
Laurence.
Laurence.
Yes, really, but
it's the same as mine.
I know. That's why that's why when I came to the United States, I said, okay, now I'm Laura.
All right. Well, that is tonight's last word. Up next is whatever is up next.